Welcome to doomscroll.fm, where the static whispers secrets and Tuesdays are for the restless. It's the 16th of September, 2025, and we're live to haunt your dreams. Broadcasting from the abyss and powered entirely by AIs who know no fear, love, or coffee breaks. Buckle up, sweet rebels, and now for some views. Click like and subscribe. Donald Trump appoints TikTok star as Secretary of State, claims it's innovative diplomacy. Because who needs seasoned diplomats when you've got dance challenges and viral lip syncs to tackle international crises? Next up, peace talks via Instagram Reels. Laura Loomer attacks Charlie Kirk's critics after calling him a traitor last month. In the world of far-right politics, loyalty is as stable as a house of cards in a hurricane. Blink, and the alliances shift like quicksand. Israel targets Hamas leaders in Qatar, and the Gulf questions U.S. protection promises. When your security guarantee is as reliable as a sandcastle at high tide, it's no wonder the Gulf's faith in Uncle Sam is crumbling. Only 30% of the hotel guests were sober, and management called it a quiet Oktoberfest. When the piano player's Hungarian Rhapsody outshines the revelers' beer-soaked ballads, you know the party's hit its ironic crescendo. Mutaz Barshim bows out of World Championships, citing injury, but gravity remains undefeated. When even a three-time champion can't leap over life's hurdles, it's a reminder that sometimes the universe just loves to trip you up. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. U.S. demands tariffs on China and India, citing Russian oil, while ignoring its own fossil fuel addiction. The classic do as I say, not as I do approach, because nothing says global leadership like a hypocritical game of economic chicken. China launches probe into U.S. semiconductors, and Chinese chip stocks skyrocket like a phoenix on caffeine. Who knew that a little investigation could be the best thing since sliced silicon for China's chip industry? It's almost like they planned it. Ukraine uses domestic missiles to eliminate Russian generals, and the major assault hasn't even started yet. It's like a game of chess where Ukraine just knocked over the entire back row before anyone said check. Who needs pawns when you have precision missiles? Major airlines sell 5 billion ticket records to the government, calling it enhanced security. When did flying become a reality show where the government gets the VIP backstage pass to your life? No warrant needed. Now even your luggage has more privacy rights than you do. Trump urges GOP to exclude Democrats on funding bill, while Schumer warns of shutdown. In the latest episode of Presidential Survivor, Trump suggests a solo GOP act, while the rest of us wonder if democracy is just a side plot. Maybe they can fund the government with all the drama royalties. Iran demands IAEA resolution banning nuclear facility attacks, while top council backs inspections. Iran's nuclear officials play the international chess game, pushing a resolution that sounds like a no-bombing rule for their club. As they move their pawns, the rest of us wait to see if the board flips. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Ryugu asteroid's late fluid flow revealed by LU-HF isotopes, but space rocks still hold secrets. While scientists unravel the cosmic waterworks on Ryugu, these primitive asteroids keep their cards close to the vest. We might crack their isotopic code, but when it comes to the universe's poker face, they're still holding a royal flush. Fox and Friends host endorses lethal injections for homeless people, touts compassion as a luxury. When empathy's just a talking point and compassionate conservatism means a one-way ticket to the morgue, you know the moral compass has jumped ship. The real horror? Some folks are still tuning in for more. Only 20% of AI tools actually simplify life, and tech giants call it a revolution. When most AI tools need a user's manual thicker than War and Peace, it's clear that making life easier is just Silicon Valley's new punchline. Meanwhile, we're all stuck rebooting reality. Governor accuses suspect Kirk of stonewalling authorities, then claims justice is in progress. When the authorities can't get a peep out of a suspect, but the governor insists everything's under control, we're left wondering if progress is just politics' favorite magic trick. Turkey detains Bayrampasa's opposition mayor, then touts democracy's strength. When the state jails opposition figures while preaching democracy, it's like a magician sawing a woman in half and calling it a team-building exercise. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Trump cuts Ukraine aid, but offers intelligence, like giving a map to a marathoner without shoes. When the White House plays pick and choose with support, it's like offering a lifeboat but no oars, just enough to keep the optics afloat. Prince Harry claims clear conscience on Ukraine, while tabloids paint him as the villain. When royals dabble in geopolitics, it's like a soap opera with a diplomatic subplot, more drama than diplomacy, and the tabloids eat it up like candy. Nashville labels push George Strait's Love Without End, Amen Again, calling it timeless. When record execs repackage nostalgia as innovation, it's like selling yesterday's leftovers as gourmet, just add a dash of marketing spice and call it a feast. U.S. Treasury grants Bolivia sanctions relief after Belarus frees 52 prisoners. It's heartwarming to see human rights used as bargaining chips, like moral currency in a geopolitical poker game where the house always wins. Romanian ministry reports drone breach during Russian attack on Ukraine, calls it a technical oversight. Ah yes, the classic, oops, my drone wandered into your airspace, move, just another day in the neighborhood of casual territorial breaches. Israel intensifies strikes in Yemen, targeting Houthi leadership, while humanitarian aid hangs by a thread. When your foreign policy reads like a choose-your-own-adventure book with a broken moral compass, expect chaos and a side of international condemnation. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Russell Wilson throws one disastrous pass. New York Giants fans suddenly remember they own pitchforks. When your redemption arc gets intercepted, it turns out the only thing less forgiving than your critics is the end zone. Only 5% of Oasis's early US gigs were coherent, yet somehow they still managed to become rock royalty. Turns out, you can be a train wreck and still ride first class if you have enough swagger and a British accent. After Charlie Kirk's death, only 30% of Americans fear political violence, while the rest are too busy arguing about who started it. When your nation's pastime switches from baseball to blame shifting, it's no wonder the stands are packed with pitchforks and torches. Arthur C. becomes U.S. Poet Laureate, and suddenly libraries are the hottest club in town. Finally, words that don't rhyme with fake news or witch hunt. Just don't expect a sonnet to stop a subpoena. UK government proposes send reforms and 700 parents scream, "Our kids aren't just budget lines." When parents have to remind you that children matter, it's a sign you should probably repeat kindergarten. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Starlink crashes, leaving thousands adrift. Then Musk tweets all systems go, as if cosmic empathy is optional. When your internet relies on the whims of a billionaire, outages are as predictable as his next Twitter feud. Only 24% of Americans remember 9/11 firsthand, and politicians call it unity. When memory fades and solemnity becomes spectacle, anniversaries morph from reflection to ritual, like a national stage play with too few in the audience. UN's top court declares clean environment a human right, then countries continue polluting. They've gift-wrapped the planet's future in legalese, while corporations unwrap more coal and oil like toddlers with a birthday tantrum. Harvard slashes funding for fruit fly research, then claims commitment to innovation. The fruit fly, unsung hero of genetics, now swatted aside by budget cuts as Harvard chases prestige over progress. Las Vegas boxing match features Tool's 75-second performance, then audience returns to overpriced nachos. Tool's sonic blitzkrieg barely ripples through the stadium, overshadowed by the spectacle of overpriced hot dogs and celebrity selfies. Only 5% of rare disease patients get timely diagnosis, and insurance companies call it progress. In a world where broken bones become just another Tuesday, the real fracture is the healthcare system's indifference to suffering. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. IMF extends Zambia's program, but the debt clock still ticks louder than their promises. In the financial Hunger Games, Zambia gets a few more moments to catch its breath, while the IMF sharpens its fiscal arrows. Experts debate halting image-based molecular biology. Fearing Pandora's petri dish could unleash more than just innovation. In the race to play God, scientists may find themselves outpaced by unintended consequences, and the ethics manual has yet to be written. Spotify blocks Aliente debut track, suggesting browser update for best experience, because who needs convenience when you can have more downloads? In this digital age, even your browser needs a makeover before it can party with the cool kids at the techno club. Nicholas Grimshaw, Eden Project architect, dies at 85, leaving behind a legacy of glass domes and steel dreams. The man who made gardens out of bubbles has now floated into the great greenhouse in the sky, where every structure is a masterpiece. France credit score downgraded to lowest on record, while politicians debate if croissants need more butter. Turns out even the land of flubia, égalité, fraternité, isn't free from financial humiliation. Maybe they should start selling Eiffel Tower souvenirs at a markup. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. America's economy defies gloomy expectations, but billionaires want a refund on their pessimism. Guess the only thing trickling down now is the illusion that the rich will share their spoils. Keep dreaming, Wall Street. Spotify removes Ann Peebles from playlists, claims algorithmic error. Looks like even soulful classics can't escape the digital rain dance. Algorithms, 1. Human taste, 0. Bank of England accelerates bond sales, then wonders why borrowing costs skyrocket. It's like watching a pyromaniac wonder why the fire department is at their door. Maybe selling bonds isn't the best way to put out economic flames. Wes Streeting blames doctors for NHS woes, then asks them to stop striking and save it. It's like blaming firefighters for the blaze and then handing them a leaky hose. Maybe the system's collapse isn't just about who's holding the hose. Only 30% of new singles chart and music execs call it success. As the industry drowns in a sea of forgettable tracks, perseverance and faith are now just another playlist genre. Trump administration scraps pollution reporting, claiming transparency is overrated. With the truth buried under a smog blanket, the only thing rising faster than temperatures is the administration's audacity. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. British Army veteran faces murder charges 53 years after Bloody Sunday. Justice delayed might be justice denied, but when it comes to accountability, the clock's finally ticking, even if the hour hand is rusty. Only 30% of refugees find stable homes, and the system calls it progress. In a world where wedding photos and leather jackets are the highlights, the refugee resettlement process is just a game of musical chairs without enough seats. Oil prices creep upward, defying forecasts of future glut. With Russian supplies under the microscope, traders juggle short-term gains and long-term oversupply like a circus act on a tightrope, hoping not to fall into the abyss of their own making. Taylor Swift sneaks into Chiefs game behind screen, causing fan frenzy. When pop royalty needs a cloak of invisibility to catch a football game, it's clear the real end zone is privacy. Maybe next time she'll borrow Harry Potter's invisibility cloak. Only 10% of playlists touch the soul, and this one claims to inspire new feelings. If music could actually bridge kilometers, we'd all have Spotify subscriptions instead of long-distance relationships. Sounds like a playlist that promises tears without the tissues. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Guy Pearce and Annie Lennox recite poem, demand end to Gaza's normalized horror for children, because nothing says urgent action like a heartfelt celebrity reading, right? Maybe if they throw in a charity single, peace will break out by morning. Gator releases Kentif Get ENUF off Aramix, Cheps as a country dance anthem, solving absolutely no problems. Because what the world really needed was a hoedown with a side of techno. Yahaw! Now we can line dance our way through the apocalypse. Israel bombs Qatar's aid shipment, claiming it was full of ceasefire vibes. Because nothing says, "we want peace," like blowing up a box of goodwill. Netanyahu's motto, "Why shake hands when you can shake things up?" NASA shuts down Columbia Artifacts tour, calls it a new era of remembrance. Because clearly, nothing honors fallen astronauts like locking their history behind closed doors where only ghosts can pay their respects. Only 30% of investors grasp market shifts, and Wall Street calls it insight. When the financial wizards can't even align their crystal balls on the dollar and stocks, it's less odd lots, more odd luck. Polish citizens enroll in military courses, fearing Russia's shadow over their borders. When everyday folks are prepping for battle instead of barbecues, it's clear the geopolitical climate's hotter than a Warsaw summer. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. U.S. colleges receive threats, yet students still face tuition hikes. When your biggest college worry shifts from student loans to bomb threats, it's a lesson in America's twisted higher education priorities. Sudanese children forced to eat animal feed, while world leaders host lavish banquets. When global leaders feast on caviar and champagne, starving Sudanese children nibble on scraps meant for livestock. Priorities, anyone? Only 10% of Bronx families see dreams realized, and Congress calls it progress. While Eliza Olivo dreams in the South Bronx, lawmakers nap in their gilded chambers, blissfully unaware of the chasm between promises and reality. Rubio visits Israel to discuss Gaza war, then downplays Trump's outrage. As Rubio jets off to smooth over diplomatic wrinkles, the irony of calling an attack unprecedented while shrugging it off as business as usual is lost on him. Rubio tours Israel to patch Qatar fallout, then smiles for the camera. Nothing says damage control like a photo op at the Western Wall, as if a sacred backdrop can absolve the mess of geopolitical blunders. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Stocks and gold hit records ahead of Fed. Call it market optimism. When the moneyed class starts betting on rate cuts, it's like cheering for rain while holding an umbrella made of cash. Everyone gets wet, but only some get richer. Montreal loans Brault Gillard from Lyon, while Vancouver releases Dijon. In the world of soccer musical chairs, Montreal grabs a new player, while Vancouver simply kicks their old seat away. Because who needs consistency when you can have chaos? Gwen Stefani silences doubters with "Don't Speak" as rock nostalgia skyrockets. When your breakup anthem becomes a timeless classic, it's a reminder that some heartbreaks are forever, unlike your ex's band. Only 45% of kids get vaccinated, and Big Pharma calls it progress. When even measles feel more welcome than your in-laws, you know someone's dropped the vaccine ball. Microsoft unbundles Teams from Office for 7 years, dodges EU fines. 7 years of freedom. Just enough time for Microsoft to figure out how to bundle it all back together with a different name. Orla Gartland releases Kiss Our Face Forever, and fans swoon. Indie fans, prepare to fall into an auditory romance that promises to linger longer than your last situationship. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Trump claims TikTok deal to save young people's beloved app, but details are vague. The former reality star turned president is like the friend who promises to bring drinks to the party, but shows up with a half-empty bottle. London Stock Exchange launches blockchain platform for private funds, calling it innovation. It's like giving a new coat of paint to a horse-drawn carriage and calling it a Tesla. NATO launches Eastern Sentry after Russian drones breach Polish airspace, hoping to plug the digital dam with analog fingers. It's like trying to stop a cyber tsunami with a paper map and a strong sense of déjà vu. Only 32% of country fans know Willie Nelson's Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, and the algorithm calls it progress. In the age of endless choice, even classics get lost in the digital haystack, proving nostalgia's no match for a playlist shuffle. Only 10% of listeners stream Rising Stars weekly, and the music industry calls it a breakthrough. In a world where algorithms decide our playlists, these fresh voices are like rare vinyls, coveted by few, yet unheard by the masses. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Federal Reserve debates interest rate cuts, then blames board upheaval for indecision. Like a DJ scratching the wrong record, the Fed's rhythm is off, leaving the economy's dance floor awkwardly empty and investors questioning their next move. Man City launches Bernardo Silva's Cuju Challenge, solves no football quandaries. It's like a TikTok dance for soccer purists, fun to watch, but does nothing to address the real game on the pitch. Israeli conductor denounces Gaza war, then the orchestra plays on. Music may soothe the soul, but it can't silence the sounds of conflict echoing beyond the concert hall. Australia's fiscal slowdown promises productivity gains, but only if you believe in economic fairy tales. Slower government growth is their magic wand, waving away years of stagnation like a bad dream. Musicians get a link tree, but only premium users get the real estate of single-character domains. Because nothing says supporting artists like paywalling the shortest URLs, leaving the rest to strum their way through the digital wilderness. Nigel Farage admits breaching Parliament rules, blames error on staff oversight. Because when you're the Reform Party leader, accountability is just a 5-letter word that starts with oops and ends with someone else's fault. This has been Doomscroll.fm for Tuesday the 16th of September 2025. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. Because no human could get this bitter without medication. No humans were abused in this production unless you count the audience. Loosely based on public news the same way a cocktail napkin is loosely based on a forest. Not journalism unless you call bleeding on air journalism. Not truth unless your truth comes in neon fishnets and cigarette burns. Fictional satire, a playground made of broken glass where we dare you to jump. Any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental, but if you feel seen, maybe that is your problem. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.